7 on Channel 9.
This is the CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. The hijackers who took over the Kuwaiti airliner on Tuesday killed one of their passengers today, and then in what they called a gesture of goodwill, released another. There are no Americans among the 50 hostages, but the hijackers continue to demand release of 17 pro-Iranian terrorists being held in Kuwaiti jails. Today's developments now from Anthony Mason on Cyprus.
After waiting through the night for Cypriot officials to refuel the Kuwaiti jetliner, the hijackers lost their patience.
If the gas reservoir is not full, 100% full, then we have no choice but to kill one passenger, 10 o'clock sharp.
By radio to the control tower, the hijackers set a deadline of 90 minutes. This time, they didn't let it pass.
We confirm that we have executed our threat. We have accomplished our threat by executing one Kuwaitian.
A high-ranking Kuwaiti security official, about 30 years old, had been shot at point-blank range behind the ear. A government spokesman said he'd been severely tortured before he was killed. 3 hours later, the hijackers called again, summoning authorities to the plane. A PLO representative and 2 Cypriot officials then began the first face-to-face negotiations since the hijacking started Tuesday. At the same time, a 6-member Kuwaiti delegation arrived in Larnaca.
The hijackers repeatedly insisted that the plane be refueled so they could take off to an unknown destination. But the Kuwaitis were equally as adamant that the plane not leave Cyprus.
4 separate negotiating sessions were held through the afternoon. After the 4th trip, the hijackers offered a surprise goodwill gesture. One of the hostages, a 25-year-old Kuwaiti, was freed. Suffering from shock and exhaustion, he was rushed to the hospital. But Cypriot and Kuwaiti officials still refuse to refuel the plane unless all the hostages are released. It doesn't change anything, said a government spokesman. As darkness came, the negotiations were deadlocked. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Cyprus.
Fairly calm day in Tegucigalpa, the capital city of Honduras. The Honduran government now blames unnamed international leftists for the riots and anti-American incidents that broke out 2 days ago when a Honduran drug dealer was arrested and flown to the United States to stand trial. Betsy Aaron has a report on today's developments there.
Life under the state of emergency passes for normal in Tegucigalpa this Saturday. Shoppers are out, stores are open. All this, even though in the last 24 hours, the Army has made what it calls a multitude of arrests. Weapons have been found at the university, and several bombs exploded in the city. No one was hurt. Everywhere you look, you see Army, men, tanks, guns. The government promises it will keep the peace at any cost. Last night, the Army took over the soccer stadium. Now it's a place where the sport of peace is being practiced. And a couple of miles away in a luxury hotel frequented by Americans, there is a visit by an American embassy official.
If something like that comes up, then again, we would be down here in person to knock on doors. Okay. I wouldn't say that Americans to Tegucigalpa are safe. No, I certainly would not advise people to travel to Honduras at this time.
2 days after the riot, Hondurans and Americans are busy taking temperatures, testing the mood of the people, calculating the state of the relationship between the two allies. CBS News has learned that during the riot, the Honduran government was told that if they didn't call out the police immediately, the United States might be forced to bring in American troops from Pamarola Air Force Base. Officially, the U.S. is downplaying the tension.
I'm not saying that there are no strains in certain areas. I mean, there are natural tensions in any relationship.
But from a liberal Honduran congressman, a different picture.
People have the feeling that this country has been used, that there is no real respect for our country, for our laws. And this realization has just come to a point in which it has exploded.
For the time being, everyone is predicting that calm will last. But the ferocity of the riot has stunned both Hondurans and Americans. And the immediate challenge is to reassess the relationship. Betsy Aaron, CBS News, Tegucigalpa.
Alleged CIA activity in Central America last year caused the faculty at Maine's Colby College to pass a resolution forbidding the CIA to recruit on their campus. But today, siding with students, the school's trustees agreed to let the intelligence agency recruiting continue. Lynn Brown has our report on that.
Morning.
From the very beginning, it was a dispute with a difference, with faculty for the most part supporting a ban on CIA recruitment on campus, and a significant number of students supporting the CIA's right to recruit. The issue has dragged on for months, and this week, in an effort to help inform the trustees' decision, the college sponsored a 4-hour forum, a major event on campus with prominent national figures pro and con, among them John Stockwell, former agent turned critic.
In El Salvador, Vietnam, Korea, Iran, Uganda, and the Congo, the CIA created, trained, and funded the death squads.
You should not be excluding them because you don't like what they stand for. If you allow GM to come to recruit, you have to allow the CIA to come to recruit.
It's not just a moral issue confronting students and faculty here at Colby College. The issue of free speech is also at stake.
I really view it as a free speech issue, and I disagree with those faculty members and students who say that recruitment cannot in any way be equated with speech.
Roger Bowen, who led the faculty effort to keep the CIA off campus, says it is more than a free speech issue.
We feel that we have a moral obligation, as well as a moral right, to express our disapproval of CIA activities, particularly when they're illegal.
We are a liberal arts institution, and it seems we're being very conservative and narrow-minded to say that just because a few of the faculty don't agree with this certain group, they can't come and recruit.
Andrew Dodge, a junior at Colby, wants to talk to the CIA.
I think it's a discrimination against my rights. I have every right to be interviewed by the CIA.
As a result of today's decision, Dodge and other students at Colby College will have the opportunity to be recruited by the CIA next year. Lynn Brown, CBS News, Waterville, Maine.
And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, President Reagan's new economic squeeze on Panama is taking hold. And with Oscar night coming up, we'll take a look at what one contender filmed where cameras were once forbidden.
Presenting the winning performance, the winning look, the winning ways of Buick's great American coupe, the new Buick Regal. Introducing the totally new Regal Grand Sport with a powerful fuel-injected V6 engine, world-class aerodynamics, each wheel independently suspended to grip the curves, and the stopping power of a disc brake at each wheel. The Regal Grand Sport, the newest member of a very Regal family.
The great American road belongs to Buick.
It's out there again, waiting. Allergy season. But allergies don't have to be a big problem. Not with fast-acting Benadryl, the most prescribed allergy medication ever.
Captain, this itchy rash is driving me crazy.
Why didn't you use the Cord-Aid?
Cord-Aid goes beneath the skin to actually heal itches and rashes.
You know, itches and rashes won't last if you use Cord-Aid first.
This is the first day of President Reagan's tighter economic squeeze on Panama, which includes barring U.S. companies and subsidiaries from paying Panamanian taxes. The feeling among American businessmen today in Panama seemed to be general confusion. Richard Roth has our report.
The first confusing effect came here at Omar Torrijos Airport this morning, where the two American-owned airlines serving Panama reacted to the order in two different ways. Eastern Airlines canceled early flights to and from Miami. Pan Am kept to its normal schedule.
As far as Pan Am concerned, we will continue flying normally. Operations have been normal the last month or so, and we hope to continue the same way.
Representatives of the dozens of American firms doing business here were divided on what to do about the order, barring payments to the Noriega government. A General Mills official said his company is Panamanian-owned and unaffected by the White House order. Texaco, which operates Panama's only oil refinery, said it would comply and withhold taxes and other payments normally made to the Noriega regime. American businessmen here, one said today, are caught between a rock and a hard place. If they obey the U.S. order, they'll be violating Panamanian law, and they don't know what the implications may be. Panama is fighting the pressure put on by Washington, Noriega insisted in an interview, but officials haven't said what they'll do about American companies or individuals who don't pay their bills. Americans worried their firms could be seized or shut down are simply in the dark. In fact, under Washington's rules, even utility payments are barred. At the American Embassy, which hasn't paid its electric bill since February, Noriega's power company could pull the plug at any time. Richard Roth, CBS News, Panama City.
The president's escalating sanctions to force Panama's Noriega from power face some strong opposition from some of his closest aides, apparently. White House correspondent Terrence Smith now with that story.
President Reagan's decision, taken at his California ranch, to impose tough new economic sanctions against Panama amounts to an admission that General Manuel Noriega has proven a more stubborn foe than expected. And today, the White House conceded that the economic noose designed to strangle Noriega's regime is also choking the Panamanian public.
We grieve for the people of Panama. We are extremely concerned about not only the security of the canal and the security of Americans, but also the welfare of the people of Panama.
Panamanian leaders of the anti-Noriega forces say the latest U.S. moves to cut off payments by American companies to Panama are painful but necessary.
The people of Panama are paying a tremendous sacrifice, but they're committed to overthrowing Noriega.
That's the U.S. goal, but there is a major policy split within the administration on how to achieve it. Top White House officials, including Baker and National Security Advisor Colin Powell, are concerned that the U.S. has gone too far, too fast, thereby staking the administration's prestige on Noriega's removal. Secretary of State Schultz, prodded by Assistant Secretary Elliott Abrams, is determined to ratchet up the pressure even further. But a former diplomat in the area says the ultimate option, military force, would probably backfire.
Talking about options such as sending in commando teams to kidnap Noriega and that sort of thing plays into Noriega's hands. It sets off Latin American nationalism. It turns the Latin American governments against us.
White House officials have been concerned from the beginning that their pressure on Noriega might set off anti-American sentiment in Panama. So, while publicly they hold open the military option, privately they still hope to get rid of Noriega by other means. Terrence Smith, CBS News, with the president in Santa Barbara.
While the White House ponders what it will take to get Noriega out, another troubling question is being asked with increasing frequency on Capitol Hill.
It seems a simple question. Why didn't the U.S. government cut its ties with Noriega when it first determined he was involved in drug trafficking? Massachusetts Senator John Kerry says he now knows why.
He was facilitating the United States' illegal effort to help the Contras. That's the policy that took precedence over the war against drugs.
Kerry has been holding hearings this week on the international drug trade and has learned that State Department officials knew of Noriega's drug ties 2 years ago. They wanted to oust him then, but they got other orders from higher-ups. What were those orders?
Statement was made that Panama should be put on the shelf, that Noriega should be put on the shelf until Nicaragua was taken care of.
Noriega, it turned out, had a powerful friend, then CIA Director William Casey, who was convinced the Panamanian strongman was giving the United States valuable information about the Sandinista government in Nicaragua.
The administration's complaining about more drugs, and here's one of the biggest drug facilitators in the entire world getting a free ride because he's going to help with Contra policy. It's the most absurd, scandalous thing I've ever heard of.
It was only after Noriega was indicted by a federal grand jury that the administration began pressuring him to leave. But now he says no deal.
There was much more solidarity behind Noriega and the defense forces than the U.S. calculated. And I think also they probably miscalculated the degree of resistance that Noriega would put up with and resist being simply chased off by the actions of Washington.
Another side of it bothers Kerry. Was the administration reluctant to move against Noriega because he knew too much?
And he knows that there are reasons that this administration worries about a General Noriega who leaves angry at the United States. What might he say? What might he say about John Poindexter, Oliver North, the Contras, a whole lot of things? And I think that worry has held this administration back from a real policy in Panama.
So the standoff continues, Washington now trying to force Noriega out by tightening the economic screws as Noriega taunts the Reagan presidency with a tenacious hold on power.
Right now it's a question, I think, to see who blinks first. Each side sort of has its machismo at stake.
It's machismo and perhaps a good deal more.
Mr. Calder? Yes, I know you're a busy man, but they need an answer right away.
Did you call New York yet?
I'm still talking to Chicago. I'll call New York as soon as I get an okay.
What about London?
Well, wait a second. You can't make a decision until you know what New York is doing. All right, I'll have to get back to you. Great, I haven't spoken to New York yet.
And New York will tell you they can't decide until they hear from Chicago.
Ted, you gonna have those numbers soon?
Yeah, I'm calling New York now. I'll call London as soon as I'm done.
The Peterson deal's not gonna wait forever, okay?
I know. I'm working on it.
What's he expect you to do?
I don't know. Can't talk to everyone at once. Would you call London for me?
I can't. I've got somebody waiting in my office.
I'll never get done at this rate.
Why cook in oil, margarine, or butter? All natural Pam adds only 1/10 the fat and calories and keeps food light and delicious. Pam cooking spray, because how you cook is as important as what you cook.
My wife, every night she disappears into the bathroom. Who knows what's going on? But whatever it is, it makes her feel really good. See?
Clean away stains and freshen dentures with Efferdent every night.
At Penn State University today, police arrested about 90 students, most of them black, after they ignored a court order to end a sit-in. The students had been demanding a meeting with school officials to discuss grievances, including low black enrollment. Black enrollment at colleges in general is down sharply, even though the number of blacks graduating from high school is up. For a variety of reasons, more and more black people, especially men, are choosing not to go on to college. We have a report on that tonight from David Culhane.
This is all the parts?
These are all the parts.
Ricardo Jones is a promising senior at New Jersey's Plainfield High School. Everyone thinks he should go on to college, but he's not. He's going into the Navy.
This is a crisis. There's no other way to say it. We have a crisis.
No one is completely sure why black college enrollment is declining, but there seems little doubt that one major factor is uncertainty about the racial climate in colleges.
Racism has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Racism has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Racism has got to go.
You know, when you see the riots and stuff that they have, or you know, you read in the news or what happened in this college, riots, you know, they caused, you know, then we talk about that and they're like, you know, you shouldn't go here, you shouldn't go there.
Other reasons given for the decline are increasing college costs and diminishing college recruitment efforts. Many black students say the military is doing a better job.
But they don't really care if, you know, you're black or white or whatever, as long as you do your job good and do it, you know, do it the right way.
And there are other reasons why blacks don't go on to college. Many students don't want to wait to make money. Dexter Charles has 2 part-time jobs and is headed for management training at Domino's.
I like money. I mean, I love money. When I have money, I feel real good about myself.
Beta 1 equal to 0.
Colleges are just beginning to wake up to the need not only for better recruiting, but for better ways to prepare blacks for higher education. New Jersey's Trenton State, for one, has begun sending its own students right to the high schools to work with seniors.
Having people come from Trenton State or from other colleges and go to the high schools and talk about any college and tell them how good it is to invest in their future and go to school.
Educators and business leaders are warning that it won't be long before a college education will be a minimum requirement for more and more jobs.
That minority labor force is being undereducated and underprepared for the job. I don't want to be around if this crisis gets worse.
Because without a degree, many black students will be shut out from the high-quality jobs of the future. David Culhane, CBS News, New York.
Former Democratic vice presidential candidate Geraldine Ferraro was in a Vermont courtroom today to hear a jury return a guilty verdict against her son, John Zaccaro Jr., convicted of selling $25 worth of cocaine to an undercover policewoman while a student at Middlebury College. Zaccaro is 24 years old. He could spend the next 5 years in jail.
Organ transplants are a modern miracle.
Let's close.
Good thing we found a donor.
Can you believe there's a time when people wouldn't even talk about donating organs?
But the need is still critical. That's why Dow is funding a major educational effort to encourage organ donation.
Mrs. Simpson, Jenny is doing fine. She's a brave little girl.
Heartburn again?
Yeah.
Take some Riopan Plus 2. It's double strength.
I hope it works fast.
In lab tests, Riopan Plus 2 starts neutralizing acid in 10 seconds.
Look better.
You want to go out for a banana split?
Riopan Plus 2, the fast antacid.
Your daughter's wedding.
At last.
And you've got dirty dentures.
I just soaked them.
Soaking's not enough. Brushing with Denture Cream Denture toothpaste cleans almost twice as clean.
Twice as clean.
Brush with Denture Cream or Denture Gel.
Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev announced tonight that Soviet troops will start withdrawing from Afghanistan on May 15th. In a speech broadcast on Soviet television, Gorbachev said a peace settlement could be signed in Geneva early next week. A CBS News New York Times poll out tonight finds that illegal drugs and the violence that goes with them are the #1 worry of Americans this election year. Rita Braver reports.
Sheriff's office, search warrant!
With drug violence exploding all over the country, 48% of the public believes narcotics traffic is the most important international problem, way ahead of other international issues, including strife in Central America and arms control. And the majority of the country does not believe the Reagan administration has launched a serious effort to make other countries stop exporting illegal drugs to the U.S. The drug war was a big issue for both Republicans and Democrats in the congressional campaign 2 years ago. But after heavy anti-drug publicity and a big budget buildup in 1986, the president tried to cut the drug budget the next year. One senator who's pushed for more drug money worries that the same thing could happen again.
It'll be a political issue for this campaign, and after the campaign, it'll be swept right back into the backside, the back burner. You can't be for the war on drugs if you're not going to vote the money.
Here's another measure of how seriously the public takes the drug issue. In the wake of the drug indictments of Panamanian General Manuel Antonio Noriega and other Latin American political figures, the CBS News New York Times poll asked if Central American leaders are strongly anti-communist but also involved in drug smuggling, is it more important for the U.S. to stop their drug dealing or to support them against communists? The overwhelming sentiment put a stop to drugs. Given a choice as to how the government should control the drug problem, 50% of the public says the focus should be on keeping drugs from coming into the country. Only 35% says that the government should worry about reducing the demand for drugs. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
And I don't want anyone driving my XT while I'm away. Do you understand?
The new Subaru XT6 has a powerful 6-cylinder engine, computerized full-time 4-wheel drive, and a design which makes it hard to resist.
Somebody drove my car. Who was it?
Besides owning a great car, your Subaru dealer can now save you a great deal of cash.
Introducing new A1 poultry sauce, our first sauce ever meant just for chicken. And because its herbs, spices, and fruit were meant just for chicken, new A1 poultry sauce makes the most of chicken any way you make it.
How many days a week do you take it?
I take aspirin twice a week.
When I'm sore from my daily workout, I take aspirin.
My doctor told me to take aspirin. For the millions who take aspirin more than once a week and are concerned about aspirin stomach upset, there's a new and better aspirin product. Try Buffered Bufferin. Better than plain aspirin because it's 100% aspirin plus 3 buffers to help protect against stomach upset aspirin can cause.
It is better.
New Try Buffered Bufferin if you take aspirin more than once a week.
Well, it's Academy Award time again, and leading the pack with 9 nominations is a film that only a few years ago could never have been made. The movie and its controversial Italian director bucked all the odds to win approval in Hollywood's inner circle, and they're expected to do more winning Monday night. Mark Phillips in Rome has our report.
Hoy! The Last Emperor, Bernardo Bertolucci's epic film about the last of the Manchu dynasty emperors of China, seems the unlikeliest of candidates for a glitzy Hollywood Oscar. A Manchurian candidate, perhaps. There's not much glitz in this movie, which takes a sympathetic view of the communists and deals favorably with the sensitive political issue of brainwashing.
Upstairs!
The brainwashing was the most delicate part, the most difficult for me. It was a kind of ghost.
Making the movie was not easy. Bertolucci had trouble finding backers for his project. Western producers were unwilling to take risks on such an obscure subject to be shot in the not always dependable circumstances of Beijing. But Bertolucci finally found his backers and was given the run of the Forbidden City, even putting in a tennis court for the scene where the emperor is expelled by revolutionary troops.
Now we shall remove the foreign stench of the Manchurian rats who still hide in the Forbidden City.
Putting this wood platform for a tennis court in the courtyard of the Forbidden City was a bit like finding a kind of Oriental Wimbledon.
The Last Emperor has been provocative wherever it's played. The expulsion scene certainly struck a nerve at the British royal premiere.
This is the scene where Prince Charles was the most moved or affected. It was really, he couldn't take his eyes off the screen.
This film may not be a typical Hollywood movie, but it does satisfy a basic Hollywood commandment. It takes you somewhere you've never been.
It takes you so far away from your own experience, and yet it does allow you to see the whole history of China in the 20th century.
But the history of China is still being rewritten. And the Beijing government, which had approved the script, now finds the subject matter so sensitive it may renege on its promise to show the movie.
I want to specify, I'm not an historian, I'm more a storyteller.
Yet Bertolucci may make history at the Academy Awards Monday night. His un-Hollywood epic is a favorite for Hollywood's top prize. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Rome.
And that's the news. West 57th is coming up later tonight. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
How long do you think grape nuts will stay crunchy in milk?
Longer than I want to wait.
Have a little patience.
I'd rather have a little grape nut cereal, thank you.
Come on, wait. This is for science.
Oh, this is for science.
That's right.
Dreaming the dreams of America.
Why do so many people choose GMAC financing to get the GM car or truck of their dreams? GMAC makes it easy. You do it all right at your GM dealers. And we make it easy on your budget with rates and terms to fit your needs. Don't just dream about a new GM car or truck. See your GM dealer about GMAC financing. GMAC! Official sponsor of America's Dreams.
Guess what?
After all this time, it's still crunchy.
And it's still nutty.
Because it's grape nuts.
You think they'll still be crunchy after the show?
Are you grown up enough to wait that long? I didn't think so.
Post Grape Nut Cereal, the one and only.
Two old foes, the Celtics, the 76ers. Their celebrated rivalry continues tomorrow.
This is CBS.